It's a return of Carlo Ancelotti to the bridge, but it's Chelsea who come away 4-0 winners. Let's get right into it.
And blue is the colour. Essien! Drogba! Lampard! That could be the championship!
Greetings! Welcome back to Couch Critic with me, Dennis P. If you don't know, this is another Chelsea match review, but more specifically, a tactical synopsis of Chelsea's performance against Everton. Before we get into all that, can you please do me a big favor? Tell 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of your friends. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification button to keep up with the latest and the newest. Okay, so Chelsea played host to Everton at the weekend and emerged 4-0 winners. Goal scorers Mason Mount, PEDRO, Willian, and Olivier Giroud. And let's be honest here, that scoreline does not flatter to deceive. Chelsea were dominant from minute 1 to minute 90. For this particular match review, I'm going to touch on Chelsea's midfield three of Mason Mount, Ross Barkley, and that kid Billy Gilmour. Then I'm going to go into the old foot veterans, you know what I'm talking about, Olivier Giroud, Willian, and PEDRO, and how well they played throughout the match. But there really is only one place to start, and that's 4-3-3 versus 4-2-2. Frank Lampard versus Carlo, and really, it was just a dominating performance from Frank's Chelsea. From minute 1 to minute 90, they were in complete control of the game, never looked like they were going to lose it. And I can honestly say a lot of it came down to the shape. 4-3-3 was without doubt the right formation to play against Carlo Ancelotti's 4-4-2. It gave us the numerical advantage in the midfield, and it allowed us to be expansive in attacking areas. I mean, the match for me was decided with Chelsea's ability to use the extra midfielder to their advantage. I thought they were incredible in the half spaces, the spaces in between the defense and the midfield and the forwards. I thought they were incredible at working those angles and finding spaces to exploit. I mean, throughout the match, they gave Everton so much to think about, whether they wanted to engage in the half spaces or sit back and allow Chelsea to just pick them apart. And on both occasions, whether they were actually engaging in the half spaces, Chelsea were able to find gaps of space in behind to exploit, or if they tried to stay home, Chelsea were very good in front of the back four as well. Now for me, when Chelsea are good in attacking phases, I feel like they have to force the defenders to make decisions about whether or not they want to engage in the half spaces or stay home and be a little bit more compact. And on both occasions, I thought Chelsea were incredible at making sure that when the defenders engaged in the half spaces, they found gaps of space in behind. And then also when they stayed home, they utilized the space that was allotted to them to get quality goal scoring opportunities from there as well. I mean, for me, it's how you use the extra midfielder when you're playing a 4-3-3 versus a 4-4-2. And I thought Billy Gilmour was fantastic at finding the open gaps of space to exploit, to dictate passing moves, and also create angles for passes as well. And in that role that he was in, basically Jorginho's role, he was very good and very mobile, first of all, finding all sorts of room all over the pitch. Wherever there was a gap of space, he was there to pick it. Not only that, I thought that he was very good at just reading where the next pass was going to be, reading where he needed to be to receive the ball as well, and always trying to get on the ball. And when you have an extra midfielder, that's what you need them to do. You need them to be alert, alive, and ready to receive the ball in any situation. I thought that he was brilliant at that. But a lot of the success that Chelsea enjoyed throughout the match was basically because Everton failed to really track Billy Gilmour. And what you wanted to see happen if you were an Everton supporter was you wanted to see one of Richarlison or Calvert-Lewin drop deep and basically take him out of the game, play basically a 4-5-1 when they were defending. And because they were so adamant on getting both of their forwards up against our center backs, whether it be Zuma or Rudiger, it left either Davies or Gomez, who had to engage with Billy Gilmour. And once they did that, once they actually engaged with Billy Gilmour further up the pitch, it created so many more options for the likes of Mason Mount. And this all came down to how Everton wanted to deal with Billy Gilmour. And I don't want to keep harping on Billy. He's a young kid, 18 years old, still trying to apply his craft, but he has a natural ability in this game. He has a natural ability to understand where he needs to be on the pitch. He finds space effortlessly, and that was the difference. As soon as he started using his movement to, find pockets of space to get on the ball, it forced Everton to compensate. It forced them to make adjustments to their 4-4-2 to compensate for his movement. And once they did make that compensation, it allowed more space, more gaps of space for the likes of Ross Barkley, Mason Mount, and whatnot to exploit. And we just got right into the back four immediately. time and time again, and were very, very effective once we got into those areas, which was a first time in a long time, if you ask me. I mean, when you're playing a 4-4-2, it's so important to remain compact and tight and allow for the opposition to just control the flank and not allow them to take the middle areas of the pitch. And for whatever reason, we just did not see that with Everton. We saw Chelsea dominate on the flank. We saw Chelsea dominate in the middle of the pitch because none of their midfielders wanted to stay home and just remain solid and compact. And that is a result of Everton's inability of dealing with Chelsea in the half spaces, and also their inability to really deal with Chelsea in wide areas as well. I felt like Chelsea had all sorts of opportunities, whether it came to Alonso or Azpilicueta, to build attacks from there, or if they wanted to work in the middle of the pitch. We already spoke on Billy Gilmour, being able to basically find pockets of space and dictate attacking moves from there. But truly, something has to be said about Chelsea's midfield. I mean, without the services of N'Golo Kante, Kovacic, Jorginho, who are mainstays in that midfield three, guys that you see week in, week out, we were able to field a midfield three of Ross Barkley, Gilmour, and Mason Mount, and not skip a beat. We don't even have Ruben Loftus-Cheek at our disposal right now, and Chelsea are still very dominant in the midfield areas of the pitch. When you got a guy like Ross Barkley as your 5th or 6th option in the midfield, and he's coming up with 2 assists, bossing the game against his former team, you know that you have strength in midfield now. You know that you have guys that you can rely on in the midfield. You may not want to see the likes of Ross Barkley week in, week out, but if he's your 5th or 6th option and he's coming into the game and dictating plays as he did against Everton on the weekend, and also against Liverpool in the midweek, let's be honest here, he had a fantastic game there as well. You're in a very good position as a football club, because you have your aces to come back into the fold, but your B lineup is still very much dominant. Mason Mount's a worker. You know that when he's scoring goals, he's having a great game, because the other things that he's doing on the pitch also allow you to win games as well. His work rate off the ball, his ability to really harry teams and get into the final third and make a difference there. But if he's actually scoring goals from you, you know you're in a good position. It is his first goal in quite some time. I really don't think we've seen Mason Mount hit the back of the net in, 18, 19 games. So, it was a welcome addition to see him actually make a difference in the final third and hit the back of the net. He had a couple of really, really great chances, not just because he scored the goal, but because he was putting the defense under so much pressure with his press. Obviously, the energy to press is one thing, but then also to win the ball, to get interceptions, really have things tick over and not really have things break down at his feet was so important for his game today. But again, the man of the match once again is Billy Gilmour. And the reason why I gave it to him is because he comes into the game, after a short week again, and he's at the fulcrum of our attack. He's the guy that basically is telling players where they need to be on the pitch. He's positioning himself to put them in good positions to score goals. And, he may not be the guy that's making the assists. He may be the guy that is making the assist to the assist a lot of the times, much like Jorginho. But it's just his positioning, his work rate off the ball, and his awareness that is just so high right now. I've already thought he was a wonder kid. I thought he was a guy that you could depend on, or you can really hitch your wagon to say he may become something for us in the future. And he's starting to prove that right now. 2 really, really big matches, Liverpool in the cup, and then we see him against Everton in a must-win game, and he's putting in a man-of-the-match performance again in the midfield, where it should be highly contested. It should be the area where if you win that battle, you win the match more often than not. And he's coming in and being the man of the match in that position as well. So the future's bright for this kid, man. There's no denying that. The future is bright for this kid right now. All he needs to do is just continue to work hard. Like I said, it's not about the potential anymore. It's about how hard you work and how hard you put the effort in, night out, game after game after game. Are you listening to what Frank has to say? Are you listening to Jody? Are you putting yourself in a position to be successful? And it seems like he's got all the tools to do that. I mean, what you're seeing from Billy Gilmour right now would allow you to believe that he's a guy that is able to not only spell Jorginho, but also, maybe even be challenging him for his position. It's a mouthful to say that at this point in time after 2 games, but I mean, his awareness on the pitch, his ability to pick passes, his tempo, the tempo that he establishes, it's very, very impressive. But most of the damage was done further up the pitch by our attackers. For the first time in how long? We had all 3 attackers score goals. We had Pedro score, we had Willian score, we had Giroud score, and that's unheard of in this Chelsea setup. We never have a situation where we have all of our attackers be so influential in the game, be so, you know, dialed in. And like, I mean, these are older players. Like, this is probably the oldest, you know, attacking lineup you will see in the Premier League. You will see probably in world football. You have a 32-year-old, you know, left winger. You have like another 33-year-old, you know, right winger, and then you have like a 32-year-old center forward. They did not look their age at this game. They looked like they were up for it. They looked like they were dialed in. They knew where they needed to attack, and they were very much direct and decisive in the match. And that's what you want from your veterans. You know, shout out to William, shout out to Pedro, shout out to Giroud. They were fantastic all match, not just in the fact that they scored, but because they really took the game to Everton, and you don't really see that very often in the attacking positions for Chelsea, where we get into these incredible areas on the pitch and we just don't seem to really put the teams to the sword. This is one of the first opportunities where we saw all three of those guys connect today, and they seem to be on the exact same wavelength. They seem to be really, really trying to make a real imprint on this game. I don't know if it's because most of them I guess all of them are out of contract and have something to prove, so maybe they have their tails up for this game, an opportunity to really show that they still have some worth to this club. You know, Giroud has come out recently and said that he actually wants to stay at Stamford Bridge and, you know, and fight for a place now that, you know, the transfer window is closed and he's not going anywhere. He wants to stay here and fight for his place. We already heard that Willian is looking for a 2 to 3 year deal, and who knows where that is. And we haven't really heard a lot from Pedro, but, you know, given what we've seen, like, Pedro's actually played really, really, really well. And I mean, who knows what he's looking for, you know, to come back, and whether or not he's even somebody that we want to come back. But he's definitely fighting for his place right now. He's fighting for the opportunities to be on the pitch. Our depth is seriously challenged, and we're seeing the likes of Pedro, Willian, and Giroud come into the game and really, really make a difference. That's why you have them on the bench. You want guys like that who can come into the game and, you know, be cold, not necessarily have, you know, the match fitness, the match sharpness, and still come into the game and make a difference. And that's exactly what they did. But I think we're gonna wrap it up there. Chelsea eviscerate Everton. Carlo Ancelotti's first game back at the Bridge, and he's taken a 4-0 loss, man. Unfortunate. I did love you as a manager. You're a good guy. Unfortunate to be sacked as you were. But hey, man, you come to the Bridge, you're playing Frank Lampard. That's what you get, man. You can't come to the Bridge and expect to walk away as a winner. We got the 4 goals. Mason Mount, what a game. Outside of just the goal scoring, of course, the goal is important. It's important for his development to continually get into these areas and score goals. But it's his work rate off the ball that I'm most impressed with. His ability to, like, you know, close spaces really quickly and put pressure on the defense to, you know, force turnovers. He's very effective in that role. We saw Ross Barkley have a fantastic game once again from the midweek game, where he, you know, played against Liverpool and played extremely well, scored a banging goal, and then he's got 2 assists here. The pass to, nobody's really talking about it, but the pass to Pedro was fantastic. If it was anyone but Ross Barkley, it would have been considered world class. It was just the perfect weighted pass and put it right into his path, and, you know, of course, Pedro does what he does, buries it. And, you know, like, we kick on, we keep moving on. We find the man of the match in Billy Gilmour, his second in, you know, as many games, really. He's been fantastic. Can he kick on? Can he continue to build on this? Are we going to give him the opportunity to build on this as well? I mean, I know we got another game without Jorginho. He's got his 2-match ban. This is his 2nd game now. I thought he was actually going to be suspended for the cup game. Apparently, they changed the rule in the Prem, which means that, you know, you only get suspended for the competition you are in. So he misses the next game, which is against Aston Villa. So I expect to see Billy Gilmour back into the starting lineup again, and I expect to see more of the same. I want to see, like, he's in the conversation now for this Chelsea team. And with that said, we need to demand the best performances from him. We know that he has it in him, and we got to demand it from him now, because he has it. Where do we go now? Like, is Tammy Abraham close to coming back into this squad? Do we still rely on Giroud? It seems like Chelsea's ability to go direct right now is very much still at play. Giroud was very, very good at holding up the ball and building attacks from there. You know, just being the guy that can just be like, you know, the wall to hold up the ball and, like, you know, build attacks off of. And if he continues, I would love to see more of that, you know? I mean, the goals will come. He's good in the air. and obviously he's also scoring goals with his feet as well. So as long as we're getting goals, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We're in 4th place. We're very much calmly in 4th place right now. And for us to ensure that we stay there, we need to continually put in performances like we did against Everton. We got Aston Villa up next, and that's John Terry's team. And we need to see that same sort of drive, that same sort of commitment to winning as we did against Everton. But you know what to do. Until then, keep the blue flag flying high and up to Chelsea. Peace.